Hi, everybody. So as usual, we're going to start this build-up session right on time. It is 5 o'clock on the East Coast, 2 o'clock on the West Coast. Today, our build-up session is how to ace the application. And our special guest today is my dear friend, Shweta Desai, who is a brain trust member, a mentor, and on the HR team. So she can answer a whole bunch of the HR questions. So what we're going to do is walk you step by step through the questions. I really want you to see, I think that the questions themselves will actually answer, the application itself will actually answer a lot of these questions. So let me go and choose a mentor here. And I wonder if this is going to be big enough for you folks to see. I hope that it is. Hang on a second. In the meantime, I'm going to answer some other questions. I'm just setting this up. One of the questions is about when the mentees are chosen. All right. And I will let you know that that will happen relatively soon. Hang on a second. Can I enter full screen here? How do I show you just the... Okay. I think I'm going to do it here. All right. All right, I hope you folks can see this. Okay. I hope it's not too small. Where's my Zoom? All right, everybody. So essentially, sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty here. There we go. I want to exit full screen. We're going to, the applications are open until August 31st at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will start our screening process, which we're about to talk about. And then we'll let everybody know either way whether or not they've been chosen at some point in November. Not sure how long it's going to take. It depends on how many applications we're going to get. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and take you folks through the application. So here we go. Do you identify as a woman of color is question number 1. I want to be very clear here. For us, women include trans, cis, non-binary, femme, gender expansive, gender non-conforming, and gender fluid people. Okay, this is a non-turf zone. Unlock Your Potential does not abide any of that nonsense. The next question, are you currently and will you be based in the United States or Puerto Rico for 2023? We have had a couple of cases where folks apply and then they move out of the country. The notion is that this program, Unlock Your Potential, is created for folks who live in the United States. We have not expanded beyond the United States. We are addressing a very specific form of racism and sexism, and we are only, it is only for folks in the United States and Puerto Rico. Question number 3, are you 18 years or older? I also want to be clear that I'm a 57-year-old woman that has a mentor. I am very anti-ageism. I talk about it all the time. There is no ceiling on that age. There is a floor, which means the minimum age is 18. There is no maximum age. I have had many comings of age in my life. I didn't even write a memoir until I was 50. I created this program at 55. I had and used mentors all along the way. So it doesn't matter how old you are, you deserve a mentor. The next question, have you ever applied before? That's pretty straightforward. Were you selected? If you were, whom did you choose? And then a lot of it is demographic, first name, last name, pronouns. Before I say anything, can you all see the screen? I'm going to assume you can see the screen. Otherwise, okay, Shweta, you can see the screen. Okay.
Yep.
Racial identity, we're using EEOC codes. This is clear. This is straightforward. And then we have ethnicity, date of birth, city. All of this is pretty straightforward. Now, what I want to get to are the, we ask, it is really important, Shweta, I'd like you to talk to this. What is the one thing the whole HR team said to me has to be a requirement in order to apply?
Yes, so it was really important to us that this was a professional mentorship program. That being said, we are requiring and have required that everyone have a working LinkedIn profile. And the intent there is, especially for people that might be new in their career, a little younger, not really knowing the importance of LinkedIn and how that fits into how companies recruit, how people view you if they're looking you up for a mentorship or a job or anything. So we wanted to stress the professionalism in this program, so that's why we required a LinkedIn. And I want to add that this LinkedIn doesn't have to have your entire history. You don't have to have hundreds of connections. It's more that you have a start, right? So even if it's your current position and just that you made one even to apply, that's our hope.
Thank you for answering that, Shweta, because that also indirectly answers another one of the questions that was submitted, which is, do you need a certain amount of experience to be a mentee? Absolutely not. There is a minimum age, and having a working LinkedIn profile, and then the other things that we talked about, of course, that you are identify as a woman and that you are of color. Again, part of why we have this program is to provide people who don't have very much experience with mentorship. So make sure that you have a working LinkedIn profile. This will be screened. If your profile is not working, if you have not created a profile, you will immediately be disqualified. Immediately. The whole 5 HR people, unanimously, they insisted that every applicant had to have one. Shweta, what percentage of companies in this country are on LinkedIn and recruit from LinkedIn?
Yeah, and I work in HR for everyone that doesn't know the call, but Sophia, I wouldn't have a stat, but in every company every company is using LinkedIn. That's the first resource and platform that recruiters go to source, recruit, everything. So it's really important to just have your name up there. And Sophia, just to touch on the lack of experience, if people don't necessarily have job experience, you might have volunteer experience, intern experience, anything like that that can show a little bit about, who you are, what you're about, what you're passionate about, what you want to do. So don't hesitate to make one if you don't feel like your job experience isn't where you may want it to be.
Absolutely. No, that's such a good point. I mean, if you're 18 and you just graduated from high school, the only thing you have on there, you may have just worked part-time at a Gap or at a McDonald's or something like that. We're not judging you by experience. We are judging you by, as Shweta says, your professionalism and the fact that you have taken that first step in your career, in building your career of creating a LinkedIn profile. I would say it's probably almost 100% of companies and recruiters are on LinkedIn. I've never met anybody that didn't look on LinkedIn when they were recruiting. Okay, so now let's get to the short essay answers. Yes.
There was a question that came through from Sandrine regarding if you worked in one industry and then switched to another, but maybe your recommendations are from your previous. Will that hurt you? Absolutely not. I think it tells part of your journey and your story. And I think the beauty about LinkedIn is you can sort of write a little bio about yourself, right? So if you have made a pivot in your career, like so many of us have, you're able to sort of state that. And I think the previous history just adds to your story. So no, definitely will not hurt you.
Thank you. So here's question number one. At this stage in your career, what are your short-term and or long-term professional goals? There is a 750 character limit. That's approximately 150 words. We got this question a lot. Is there a word count? Yes, there is. There is no minimum, but I will say that if you answer this with just a couple of words, we're probably not going to consider the application. These questions here, the answer to these questions are key. So that's question number one. At the stage of your career, what are your short-term and or long-term professional goals? Question number two, this is the most important question to me. Why is this mentor a good fit for you and vice versa? My recommendation on this, and Shweta, you can speak to this as a mentor as well. This is the most important question to me because it shows that you have done your research. Look, when I conceived of Unlock Your Potential, right? The reason that we do not make recommendations to you for which mentor to choose is because I believe that the rigor of the program begins with the application. So if you want to be in any of these fields, you have to do the research. Do the research and look, oh, I've never heard of this person. I've never heard of that position. I didn't even know that existed. So do the research. And this question answers to me how much research you've done about me, what it is that you know about me. There is no right answer to this question, but for me, what it really demonstrates is how thoroughly and carefully you've thought about me as a mentor. How do you feel about this question, Shweta?
I totally agree. And I love the vice versa piece of this as well. So my current mentee has a higher title than me, definitely has more experience than me. Her answer was amazing. Our first call, I'm like, you know, this is like a mutual mentorship because you definitely have more experience than I do. But I think that's the beauty in a program like this, right? No matter where experience lies, you're taking something away from each other. It's a give and take. And I really like that part of the question. And yes, Sophia, I totally agree. When you are like reading all of these applications, you can tell, you know, who took the extra mile
Yes.
and did a little research. And when a mentor is reading these applications, they're going to connect to this answer, right? Like people love to hear about themselves and people love to know that you put in the effort.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know, in terms of why are you a good fit for this mentor, I've had a wide range of answers and they're amazing. They're amazing. And you just can't imagine. And this takes some creativity, right? Why am I a good fit for this mentor? And I think that you know, if you think hard enough about it, you can come up with a really great answer. That's the question again that stands out to me the most. Okay. And then the last question is, list 3 to 5 topics and or questions you would cover with your mentor. We recommend to all of the mentees who get accepted to the program, come prepared. Come prepared for your sessions. None of us, look, all of us are incredibly busy, right? And so if we're going to spend an hour on the phone with you a month, we want you to come and have questions. My mentees always had a list of questions. My mentee this year, she is, oh my God, Shweta, she's so organized. She comes with her questions and every one of my mentees took copious notes. I can hear Dachin taking notes. Like she's like, okay, hang on a second. I'm taking notes. And you know what Dachin does? She'll be like, okay, that's all my questions. That's it. I'm done. And then we might talk about something else, but she's incredibly focused and she's very, very clear on how we use the time and very respectful of the time. One of the other things that we intended that mentees learn from Unlock Your Potential is respecting your own time and respecting your mentor's time. And, you know, you're the one that sets up the appointments, you send the calendar, you come prepared with questions. So this is a really, really great question. I'm really looking forward to hearing the answers to this one. So the last thing that I want to say, All enrolled mentees will receive an official Unlock Her Potential certificate upon completion of the program. Mentees are expected to commit fully to an hour a month for 12 months, as well as respect the time and guidance as an investment in themselves and a gift from their mentor. Please note that all accepted mentees sign an agreement, which includes guidelines and code of conduct. Okay, so that is the application. Now I'm going to go over some of these questions. So Shweta, will you take this one? If my background is in PR, would I be able to apply? Let's say my background isn't anything. Am I able to apply?
Absolutely. And I don't think that you necessarily have to only apply to a mentor that's within your field or your current field. This is meant to be a connection to a woman of color that has gone through her journey, right, to an extent that she's part of this as a mentor. So I know for sure I could learn something from someone in legal or music or entertainment, anything. So I think that's the beauty of something like this, is that there are so many broad fields in here. And if you have seen something about someone, if you've seen them on a panel maybe, and you just really vibed with them or connected with them, apply.
That's a great point. They don't have to be in your field. That's why we really encourage folks to read their bios, and they can tell you, for instance, one of our mentors this year is Gordon Willoughby. He's the former CEO of WeTransfer. And you don't have to want to be the CEO of a global tech company to be mentored by Gordon. I mean, the thing that he says in his personal statement is that he can help you scale a business. He can help you build your brand. You know, that's invaluable to any of us. Will you add mentors who are actresses? I can answer that question since I'm the person that gets all of the mentors. The intention was always to have actresses, and I have asked them and they have not been able to, but yes, of course we will. In terms of the managers / agent mentors, is the ideal candidate someone who is looking to become a manager agent or someone who is looking to get guidance from manager agent? This is a very smart question, and it's absolutely something that I would think about. And I think the answer is yes, I think it's both. Look, my managers, I would love to be mentored by my managers. I have a team of 4. I have 2 literary managers, which means they manage me as a screenwriter. I have a talent manager who is my lead manager, who manages me for anything on screen. I actually have 2 talent managers. Now, my talent manager, for instance, if I was talent, I would love to be managed by my talent managers because they could help me just navigate. Hollywood is a fucked up place, yo. It's fucked up and everything moves so slowly. And so much of it is just, you don't get taught this anywhere. By the same token, if I wanted to manage actors and actresses, they would also be terrific. Excuse me. The same thing with my literary managers, Jenny Frisbee and Mitch Solomon. They know everything about the business. They know all aspects. I just had my call with my managers yesterday. And I said, have you ever heard of this company? There's this little animation company. They were like, yes, we know. They, managers and agents are in the middle of so many conversations. My managers work at Authentic. We have an agent on there. Her name is Angela Dallas. She works at CAA. CAA is the largest theatrical agency probably in the world. And I've dealt with, Angela doesn't represent me. I've dealt with Angela. She's incredible. And she represents writers, right? So she knows everything about a writer's room, how to get on, how to get a job. And again, a lot about navigating the space. The next question is, what are the 3 things that make an application stand out? I think we just answered that question as well. Those essay questions are really the most important to us as mentors. I don't care where you live. I don't care how old you are. None of that matters. What really we pay attention to, wouldn't you say, Shweta, are the answers to those 3 questions.
Totally. And I want to add, know your audience. If you're applying, we've gotten applications that are super corporate and professional, which is great. We've gotten ones that are funny as hell. And I'm like, oh my God, this person's amazing. So they can all be different. There's not a wrong or right way to, I shouldn't say that. There's not a right way to do this. but be creative, know your audience, like speak to, if you're having a conversation with this mentor, like answer your questions accordingly, because they're the ones that are taking this back, right? Like they need to connect with your application. So I would say know your audience, but definitely like be you. You know, that comes through for sure in these applications.
That's a great point, and that really comes through in answering those questions. John Rubenstein, who runs Authentic Management, which is my management company, he called me and he said, I can't, my wife and I are sitting on the couch reading these applications and I'm in tears, Sophia. I cannot say no. I can't, he took on every one of his year one applicants. I was like, don't do that. I caveat emptor, don't do it. He was like, I can't not do it, Sophia. It's so touching. And he took on everyone. Natasha Fan, who runs Roy Choi's company, Kogi, with this food empire, she did the same thing. She said, I can't choose. I have so many mentors that call me after they get the applications. They're like, Sophia, I can't decide. I'm like, I can't, you're going to have to. And some of them take on more than one. And some of them end up just, it's hard. It's very competitive, and you folks are amazing. And there's so much heart and soul and passion in those responses. And those are the ones I think that resonate the most deeply. Again, I don't give a shit where you went to school. I think all the Ivies, I think all the elite colleges, I think that's bullshit. I don't even fucking know where my mentees went to school. I don't give a shit. I don't care where you worked before. I don't care where you live. None of that matters to me. What matters are those three answers and how you think we will work together. And the dynamic from between me and my mentees, and you can speak to this too, Shweta, it varies from mentee to mentee, and it can be pretty it can, I am, as you all know, I can be pretty blunt. That's kind of my style, because in an hour of time, I just really want to get to the point. What's the dynamic like, Shway, between you and your mentees?
Yeah, so it's different from previous years to this one, but I've gone out to lunch with my mentee. She's given me advice about men. So it's just like, we talk about very professional things in work, but it's also now led to, we can have a real conversation. And I think things like that take time. I think if you are able to meet someone or connect with someone on a mentor-mentee level, and you guys do have a good relationship and all of that, that can last past this 1 year of unlocking potential, right? Like Sophia and I talk about this. I view something like this as a long interview process, right? Like you never know who's looking. You never know like what they're taking back. They could be thinking of you for maybe a job or to connect you with someone else. Like this isn't necessarily just a 1 year thing. And if it is, that's okay too. Hopefully, you'll take something away during that time. But I think if you can really vibe with someone, the sky's the limit of what this can do for you.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, yeah, look, again, when I designed the program, I was very, very strict about the boundaries. Let's call them the four corners of the document. This is a professional program only. I am not here to be your therapist. I don't give a shit if you think your husband is cheating on you. I don't give a shit if your 3-year-old is a total fucking asshole. None of that matters to me. It doesn't mean I don't care about you as a human being, but that has no place here. Again, and I am not your therapist. I'm not here to work you through those things. I will talk to you about things like imposter syndrome, right? Or the thing that I talk to every one of my mentees about is, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Right? So we'll have these kinds of discussions, but I want to make it crystal clear here that if you're in need of therapy, God bless, and you should get therapy. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. Do not bring those issues to your sessions. It is not fair to you because I'm not a clinician, and it's not fair to me, right? There's so much more that you can get from me just in terms of, I've been in the business for 35 years now, how I navigate this world. Another question is, outside of mentorship, what can mentees gain from this program? Well, I would say that our community, right, whether or not you apply, whether or not you're chosen as a mentee, this is a benefit right here, is community. what we are doing with Unlock Her Potential. We are building community, coalition, and citizenry. We are so much more powerful together than we are apart. One of my favorite things during these build-up sessions is looking at the chat afterwards. I don't have time to look at it while I'm here, but just looking at the chat and seeing everybody, like, I saw somebody said, hello from Harlem, hello from Dallas. You know, I love the notion that people can talk to each other from everywhere. And another point to make is this is a virtual program. It is a virtual program because most of our mentors are based in Los Angeles and California. That would be so unfair to people who are not on the coasts if they weren't able to apply. So most of these sessions happen either via Zoom or via phone call. I would also like to say that this is, if you saw the army of people, and they are all women, every volunteer is a woman. And I think 95% to 100 of us are women of color. We put so much heart and passion and time into this program. Some of our volunteers are here today. Please do not take it for granted, because when you take it for granted, you take us for granted, and it hurts. It really hurts. When I hear about mentees who just don't show up for sessions, that's a problem, and that hurts. It means that you have essentially taken the place of another woman of color that is antithetical to this program. So if you apply, I hope you do it with the sincere and earnest faith that you will participate to your fullest ability, and that this program is truly life-changing. If you are here, you likely subscribe to our newsletter. And in our newsletters, we tell you about these incredible blow-ups and these beautiful stories that happen. You know, the program, what I say is, you're not allowed to pitch your mentor. Mentors are not expected to make introductions, write letters of recommendation, get you a job interview, get you an internship, get you a job. None of that, but all of that has happened over and over and over again. It's never expected. What you get is an hour a month for a year professional guidance, but you get sometimes these other beautiful things happen as well. So what I'd like to do is, I think we've answered all these. Is the build-up session recorded? We record all of our build-up sessions. We do not air them afterwards. This one we will share on our YouTube channel, and we'll put that on socials. And for folks that want to be mentors, please email us at info@unlockherpotential.com, info@unlockherpotential.com. So again, applications opened August 1st, they close August 31st. We go through our screening process, which takes at least a couple of months. We send those applications to the mentors, the ones that aren't disqualified because of not working LinkedIn profiles or incomplete answers. And then we give the mentors time, and then sometime in November, we alert you whether or not you're chosen. Either way, we will tell you sometime in November. And then you sign an agreement if you are chosen. We make the introduction in December, and the program kicks off, and you get this game-changing mentorship starting in January 2023. So let's open up. First of all, I want to do what I always do, which is the gallery view. Hi, everybody. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous creatures. I am so happy you're here, and I'm so thrilled. I'd like to ask everybody, who here plans on applying? Raise your hand. Do that little whatever that shit is, like you. Oh, or hit that thing where you, oh shit, okay. Oh shit, okay. All right. Oh my God.
That was pretty cool.
Okay, good. Oh, all right. Kit Kat, I'm glad you're going to apply. Good. By the way, everybody, Kit Kat Fisher is here, who runs our socials team. She is one of our volunteers. Crystal Trotter is also here, who does socials and does a whole bunch of the gorgeous graphics that you see. Jolia is here, who is our, Jolia is like a ninja. Jolia is our stealth research person. It's crazy the things that Jolia provides for us. I am so happy that you all raised your hand. Okay, so let's open it up to the floor. Who can Jolia or Crystal or Kit Kat, can you throw us the questions, please?
All right, so first question. My LinkedIn was created when I worked in a different field. It now reflects what I do, but my recommendations and such are mostly from then. Will that hurt me?
So that's one that we touched on earlier. The answer is no. Again, it's telling your whole story, your journey. So no, anything on there is only going to help you.
All right, there's a next question here. I completed the application before this meeting. How do I resubmit my application?
That's a good question. I think what you do is you apply again and then email support@unlockherpotential.com and say in the subject line, resubmitting application, and then we will make sure that your second application gets considered. Oh, the other thing I need to add is you can only apply for one mentor. In our first year, we had people applying for 6, 7, 8 mentors. We haven't figured out how to block you from being able to do that in type form. If you do that, number one, please don't do that because it creates more work for our team. But if you do that, we will take your first application and throw away your second application. Okay, other questions?
Sophia, really quickly.
Yes.
So we do require that you only apply to one mentor, but while we're going through our process, if we read something and you may not have gotten selected for your mentor, if we remember like, oh, this person wrote this in their application, they might be a cool fit for someone else, we might present that back to you. So, you're not applying for someone else, there is a chance that we might reach out to you and say, hey, this didn't work out, but this might.
Okay, thank you.
So this is a really interesting question. Will all the mentors be adding a personal statement to their bio? Sorry.
No, that was something that we just started this year, and some of them did, some of them didn't. Most of our mentors are so busy that they don't have time to do that. So that's a very, very new feature, but moving forward, we'll try to push more of them to do it. Look, if you knew what I went through just to get the photo and the bio, there were mentors that I had to ask 6 or 7 times. They're that busy. It's no reflection on how they feel about the program. It's just about how busy they are. So getting them to craft a personal statement is a lot, is really a lot. By the way, just out of curiosity, did you all read my brother's statement? Because I've known my brother for how many years? I guess 57 years. And when I asked him to write that personal statement, first of all, I thought he was going to be like, oh, Sophia, I don't have time. And then he wrote it, and it almost made me cry. I sent that to some of the other mentors, and my other mentors were like, I'm not going to fucking write something like that, Sophia. And I was like, I don't expect you to. He's an English professor, and he's going to mentor a writer. But I just thought it was so beautiful. I will say to everybody here that if you are interested in writing anything, if you are interested in story, if you are interested in character, my brother is a genius. There is nothing my brother can't do when it comes to analyzing text, narrative. He is superb. He's incredible. So next question.
And so kind.
And so kind. Yes. Oh, that's right. You met him. And he's funny as hell. I don't think people realize because he seems so serious. My brother's one of the funniest people I know. Okay.
So this is not part of the process, but you never know, it could give some ideas. Is there going to be an interview process anytime during the selection process?
No, we don't have the resources. We don't have the time.
Looking for other questions.
Don't be shy.
Then, oh, sorry, go for it. I saw a question during the program, will mentees be able to connect with each other? And a similar question, does the cohort of mentees selected to communicate, or well, does the cohort of mentees selected be able to communicate with each other during the program?
Kit Kat and Crystal, why don't you answer that question?
Yes, we want you to. This is the community, y'all. Like, look at how many people are in this room, right? Connect with each other. We've dropped our socials, find each other. We're talking about opportunities to connect with other folks a little bit more often. So yeah,
And
please. It's the
sorry,
community.
Jolia, do you want to speak to that as well?
Yes, absolutely. We're trying to provide networking opportunities and really establish a community amongst all of the applicants and all the mentees, and really just trying to build this out and helps us support people in their journeys.
And I think one of the things that we're looking into is doing a LinkedIn group. We have a closed Facebook page group just for our mentees, but I don't think many people, I'm not on Facebook. I'm barely on Facebook. So we're looking at doing it on LinkedIn. Thanks, Julia, for that answer. In terms of the question about the other benefits of being part of the community and not just a mentee, we have opportunities, our opportunity hub. You know, we have folks coming to us saying, hey, you know what? I'm looking for an assistant. I'm looking for a director's assistant. I'm looking for a VP of social media and stuff like that. That is also something that we offer to our community, as well as these build-up sessions, right? And the mentorship, and then building community as well.
Here's another question. If selected as a mentee, is there a way to give back as an alumna at the conclusion of the program?
That's a great question. You can always donate. And I think that what we all have always envisioned, right, is that, again, community, community, community. We hope that you remain engaged in the community, and maybe one day you'll get tapped and asked to speak to your experience. You know, 2 months ago, was it last month or 2 months ago? 2 months, I guess it was last month, I've lost track. Our Meet the Mentees session, right, was having our mentees who have had tremendous blow-ups come and speak and address the community. There is no one more powerful to speak to unlock her potential than the mentees themselves. It is so potent. It is so moving. One of our mentees from last year, her name is Janelle Bell. Her mentor was Marcel Karp, and she's a mother of 10. And she stuck through the program and did every one of her sessions and never thought that she would ever get this kind of guidance. It's a really beautiful story. I think another way that anybody and all of you could help is to volunteer, you know, and help us out in all sorts of different ways. Graphics or social media, or helping with these build-up sessions. We're trying to put together a podcast. There's video editing. They're all fundraising, helping us do research. There are many, many ways that you can give back. And I appreciate the question, but you don't actually have to be a mentee to give back.
Here's another question. I don't think you touched on this. If I don't have experience in the field of the mentor and I'm curious, how to make sure time is productive for both parties?
Shweta, why don't you answer that?
Yeah, I think that can be unique, right? And I think that's part of the other question on the application of, you know, choose, what was it, 4 to 5 topics that you would want to bring. So I would think of it that way, right? Like if someone, maybe you're not in the same professional field, but you saw them speak on, I don't know, anything, how they structure your day, and you're looking for guidance on that, right? Just speak to what connects you to that person and what you wanted to learn and take away from them, and make sure that's reflected in the application so that they know going up, into it, okay, this might not be about music or law or finance, whatever, but they are looking to take away this one thing that I know I'm really good at, right? So I think if you're deliberate and writing that in your application and what you're wanting to get out of this, like, I think that the mentor will connect to that as well. I just want to add, I had my first mentee in this program. She was a student. She was in a different field than I am, but she saw me in one of these build-ups and she was like, she's like, I feel like you're very confident, and that's something that I'm trying to learn and teach myself and get better about. And we talked about that, right? So that goes into professionalism and how you show up and, how you enter a room, but it can be something that's not writing, or, it doesn't have to be this very technical thing that you're wanting to learn. It can be something like that, right? You just like how someone shows up and you want to take something away from them.
Yeah, that's a really great point. For instance, I'm not an attorney, but what I put in my personal statement this year is that I'll teach you how to negotiate. I'll teach you the art of the hard conversation. I'll teach you how to navigate white male spaces, right? None of that shows up in somebody's bio, but these are all things, to Shweta's point, that we can all speak to different things.
Another question is, I've heard recommendations mentioned a few times. I didn't see a place to list them on the application.
Sorry, thank you, Crystal. What's that?
Yeah, I think when we were talking about recommendations, that was tied to LinkedIn, not the application.
Yeah, that's not necessary at all. Right. Because I guess on LinkedIn, there are places for recommendations. Yeah, there's a place for recommendations. That's not necessary at all. It's not a requirement.
All right, and the last question here, it's lengthy. With TV film, where a lot of the journey is a bit subjective, I was struggling a bit with some of the questions without making it seem like I was looking for a specific answer. Do we frame our questions around our own personal work? What are good questions? For example, if my goal is to be a writer-director, would a topic be how to pitch?
Sure. I mean, the first question, at this point in your career, what are your short-term and long-term goals? I'm going to assume that that's not the question that's difficult. The second question is, why is this mentor a good fit for you, and vice versa? I think it's really the third question, right? What are the 3 to 5 questions? Well, I think, again, the rigor of the program starts with the application. So I think you think about it. If you want to be a writer-director, look at the writers, look at the directors, look at their bios, look at their body of work, and think about how you could learn from them. There are filmmakers that do television. There are filmmakers that do film. There are filmmakers that do scripted. There are filmmakers that do unscripted. I would also say, to somebody who wants to be a writer-director, you could also really benefit from the mentors who are development people. They're the ones that hire the writers and the directors, right? You could benefit from the agents. You could benefit, again, from the managers. If I were a writer-director, I wouldn't necessarily only apply to a writer and or director. I would look at the whole raft. You see that we have a lot of creative executives in our roster. And those are the folks, number one, they do the buying. They're the people to whom writers and directors pitch, and they're the ones that actually hire these folks, right? And so they know so much about and know so many of these people. So I would think about a lot of those different folks. Again, the creative executives, the managers, and the agents.
And just to add to that, and I like the question, like, do we frame it around our own personal work? I would take that maybe a step further. Like, if you're a writer or something, right, and you're maybe having writer's block or something, that would be a topic that you can add. You know, when you face this, when you're in this position, what's your process of moving forward? Like, I would think about things that you might have challenges with and ask them, when you're in this situation, like, what's your process? What do you do? Like, help me with that.
And the last question that was answered already, but is Sophia open for taking on mentees for this upcoming application year?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, when I was younger, there was this ad about hair club for men. Remember this ad, Shweta? You're probably too young, but the guy was like, I'm not just the president, I'm a member. Like, I'm not just the founder, I'm a mentor. Yes, I can't imagine what would have me not be a mentor. I mean, I already have, outside of Unlock Her Potential, I have 5 or 6 mentees. Mentorship has been so deeply meaningful to me, having been mentored, that I will always mentor a number of women, always. It's just so integral to my ethos and how I move through the world. And it's part of how I try to make the world a better place. So yes, I am a mentor next year, and I am reading my applications. The other thing I need to say, I don't read any applications but my own. Number one, I don't have time. Number one, I don't want to. You know, I've had friends say, hey, my niece applied to so-and-so, and I'm like, fucking great. Good luck to her. I do not tip scales. I do not put my finger on the scales. That is not what this is about. Unlock Her Potential is about leveling the playing field. So one of my closest friends for 30 years, Keisha Harris, applied in year 1 and she didn't get accepted. And when she came and spoke at the fundraiser, she said, well, that goes to show you that Sophia doesn't play any favorites. I don't. I never, ever say to a mentor, hey, so-and-so applied, will you please take a careful look, or anything like that. And I don't look at the applications. Yeah. So I am very much somebody that's on the sidelines, except when it comes to my own applications. There are no other questions?
Can you have a manager / agent still get a mentor? Some mentorship programs prefer unrepresented candidates.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure you can. Absolutely. I think the one thing that I have seen that got complicated, and only happened once, was that there was a mentee who worked at an agency and wanted to be the mentee of somebody who worked at a competing agency. The mentor didn't care, but he said, you should run that past your boss because he might find that a little bit weird. But yeah, absolutely, you can be represented. Of course you can. I mean, yeah.
All right, last question in the chat. For folks who are interested in building a career in both the scripted and unscripted space, would you recommend on focusing on one area when applying for a mentor?
I think that has to do with what mentor speaks to you, right? So like you, again, this is like, we are all likely interested in more than one thing, field, you know. So I think when you're going through the mentors, and I wouldn't focus on that necessarily, but read their little bios, like do some research. You might find someone that is in one or the other, and they might just speak to you more, and that might be your answer. I wouldn't limit yourself.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. In my experience, most folks focus on one or the other, but know about both fields. I think that comes back to you and what it is that you want to gain out of the mentorship, because, you know, what do you want to learn about? What is it specifically that you want to learn about? And again, do your research and read the bios and see what they've been attached to, because there are also some mentors who have played in both spaces, who continue to play in both spaces. I work on scripted and unscripted, or I just focus on scripted, but I used to work on unscripted, and vice versa. They're also usually part of companies, right? Many of them who work in both spaces, or we have our producers. For instance, my producing partners on some projects, Michelle C. and Michelle Ramo, they work in both the scripted. Oh no, Ramo doesn't work in the unscripted space. She works in the scripted space, but in both live action and animation. She was the president of Sony Animation Studios. Michelle C. works in both film, television, and scripted and unscripted. So you might want to look at producers as well.
That's all the questions in the chat.
That's all the questions in the chat. Okay, so I'm going to do my favorite thing again. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody to, first of all, I just want to do, can you, rather than raising your hand, because it looks so amazing, can you hit the hand emoji if you plan on applying or if you have already applied? Oh my goodness, look at that. All of these folks are going to apply, or you have already applied. I am very, very happy to see that. So none of you have any other questions for Shweta and I. If you're going to apply, this is your time to ask us. Okay, well, we're done 9 minutes early. Thank you so much. Again, do your research and get your applications in. We have had so many stories of folks saying, oh my God, I rushed and I stayed up until 4 a.m. You have just over 2 weeks to get it in. Don't just let it sit there and do it at the last minute. Nothing is changing between now and then. I don't think in your life, in the mentor's career, they are who they are. So try to get it in. We screen on a rolling basis. We are already screening applications, right? We're already screening these applications. So do take a look. If you're comfortable, everybody, please go on camera and unmute your microphones and give, well, I guess me and Shweta and our volunteers, Crystal and Kit Kat and Jolia, a hand and say thank you to my amazing team.
Thank you so much. Yay!
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you. I could not do it without my volunteers. Everybody has been amazing, and I wish all of you the best of luck. This is truly a game-changing program that is not just about you and me as your mentor. It's also about, again, the community that we're building, and it's about the conversations that we have around it, because I'm really working to open up the discourse around mentorship for women of color. So please talk about the program and talk about the importance of mentoring women of color. I say it all the time, other than my children. Unlock a Potential is my greatest legacy, not my memoir, not any television shows I'm going to produce. It's Unlock a Potential. What we are doing here is really, truly shifting sands. So congratulations for being here. Congratulations for taking this step to apply, and hopefully the application process itself is clarifying. Having to articulate those answers for yourself should be edifying, and it should show you, my God, this is amazing what's being offered to me, and this is really what I want. These are my short-term goals. These are my long-term goals. This is why I think I could be a good mentee for so-and-so or so-and-so. And the questions that I would ask, they're not necessarily easy questions. That's why they're there. So the process of applying in and of itself is a step towards understanding who you are and how you want to move as you proceed in what I hope is a long and prosperous career. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for taking the time on a Saturday. Thank you, Shweta, for taking the time. Thank you to my amazing volunteers who continue to be the lifeblood and the glue of this program. Thank you, everybody. That's it. Really, no more questions? We're good, everybody? Okay. Thanks all. Take care and good luck, and get your applications in. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Do not procrastinate. You just heard from the founder and a brain trust member and an HR team member who Shweta may be the one looking at your application. Now that you have all this fresh in your mind, go fill out your application and please share the program with everybody. Please share. This is a gift. This is a gift that we are all fighting hard to share with folks. So please tell your friends, tell any folks you think that could benefit, and share, and talk about mentoring women of color. Thank you, everybody.
Can I just add, I wish all of my meetings looked like this. This is like the most beautiful group of brown, black, yellow, everyone, women. Like I
Yes.
wish my day to day.
No, that's what I'm saying is we've created this beautiful, beautiful community. And I'm so grateful that everybody continues to be here and show up. You show up for you, and you show up for me, and you show up for us. And that's the coalition that we're building. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Saturday and good luck. And if you don't make it this year, keep coming to our build-up sessions and keep spreading the word, and try again next year. We have so many folks that applied the first year, didn't get it, and then applied the second year and got it. So good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.